Congresswoman Cori Bush was asked a very good question by a CNN pundit, and her answer was very unsettling, to say the least. Take a look.
Senate, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia has essentially, used what seems to be a veto power against a lot of progressive priorities, including some of the ones that you've mentioned. But in the House, Democrats have this two-seat majority. There are 6 members of the squad, of which you are a part. What's stopping you from flexing that same power for your agenda? You just said you would vote against a compromise on qualified immunity. Are you prepared, and the rest of the squad prepared, to use that kind of veto power that you have if you vote as a bloc?
You know, I'm prepared to do whatever is needed to make sure that that our agenda moves forward. But I can't speak for the rest of the squad members. At the end of the day, my sister Ayanna Presley says it all the time. You vote alone, and you're voting for your districts. So you're voting for the people who voted you in. You're voting their needs and their values.
Okay, so first of all, I tip my hat completely to, I don't know her name, but to the woman that asked that question. I mean, that was astounding. You don't see stuff like that on CNN pretty much ever. That was a really good question. And this video basically affirms everything that everybody critical of our supposed leaders, in Congress and Washington are. And it's that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what the hell they're doing at all. They have no idea. They have no clue. Based upon this answer, it seems to me that they don't even talk amongst each other. They don't even converse. There is no discourse centered around strategy and what they should do moving forward in order to implement progressive ideas. I mean, it's so befuddling, because it seems as if they, and when I say they, I'm referring to Cori Bush, AOC, Ilhan, Roe, the rest of them, all the Justice Democrats, okay, the supposed squad. And we'll get into that term squad in just a second. But it seems as though they all agree on the policy and the ideas, okay? They all think alike, but they have no idea what to do as far as affirmative action and actually taking necessary steps to advance these progressive ideas and get them implemented and actually help the people that got them elected. So she was asked this question, and she kind of stuttered in the beginning. She says, and this told it all right here from the very beginning. This told it all. Well, I'm prepared. Oh, God. Oh, God. So that word I am, she's referring to herself. So she can't speak on behalf of the other Justice Democrats. And you might say, okay, well, what's wrong with that? Well, they should all be on the same page. If they were all talking and if they were all on the same page with this, she would say, well, of course we are. We are ready to, vote as a bloc and force a vote or whatever. And we're going to do that. But you see how she didn't say that? Because they're not going to do that, and they're not ready to do that, and they haven't been talking about it. Why? I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. And okay, if you are ready to do this, if you specifically, Cori Bush, are ready to do something like this, if you're willing to do whatever it takes, well then take this idea to your colleagues, to AOC, to Ilhan, to Roe, to whoever, Pramila Jayapal, and run this by them and see what they think. And if they don't agree, then that tells us everything. Because I really wish they would be asked more questions like this. I really wish that AOC, Ilhan, all of them would be asked more questions like this, because it's so telling. I mean, this is everything. I mean, in regards to the squad, like, how are you guys a squad if you don't act like one? This isn't how a squad acts, singling out yourself and only speaking on behalf of yourself. And I love how she says, Ayanna Presley says that you vote alone, and she has to do what she needs to do for her constituents. Well, let me put this into perspective for you. The same people that voted you into office, those people believe in the same kind of ideology that the people who voted AOC into office, and Ilhan Omar, and Pramila Jayapal, and all the rest. Those are progressive voters. And they put you guys there because they want progressive legislation. I, I don't understand this notion of catering to my constituents as if my constituents are somehow vastly different from AOC's constituents, her colleague, who believes in the same thing that she believes in. I really don't understand. It's like, I know I'm not grasping at straws here because the polls tell us a different story. And the people that are actually on the ground, the people that actually have to live in this climate, they tell us a different story. Okay. It's not like everybody is split on the issue of healthcare. You know, as a country, speaking generally, the majority of the people in this country, the vast majority, support a nationalized healthcare system, universal healthcare, healthcare paid by tax dollars, okay, publicly funded. But she speaks as if, okay, well, I have to cater to my constituents as if they're this rarefied population. That is not the case whatsoever. But as stated before, this affirms everybody's beliefs. And it's quite funny to me how people will be vilified and attacked relentlessly for criticizing these people, for criticizing AOC. I mean, look, Jimmy Dore and his supporters and the people, you know, that think like him and just anybody that was on the side of force the vote when it was really happening. And even now, because I see it now, they were vilified to hell and back, and people hated them for it. Some people still do. Now, I'm sure there's some personal things going on there that I have no idea about, you know, when it comes to those people and what they do. I don't care what they do. Okay. But the force the vote thing, it was very telling in the sense that it created a rift and it really put on display who just simply believed in these things and who was willing to fight for it to get these ideas implemented. Because it's one thing to believe in it, but it's another thing to actually be willing to go out there and be unapologetic about your beliefs and actually put forth the effort to get your ideas turned into actual legislation. And so far, it seems like Justice Democrats are not ready to do that whatsoever. And it's incredibly sad. And I don't really know where we go from here. I guess we can strategize and figure out some different things. But I mean, these guys are going to have to grow a spine. They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to get together and seriously have talks because they don't talk. They don't talk. I mean, and if they do talk, what is it about? It's definitely not about anything important. I mean, she brings up to her, hey, Joe Manchin, you know, one of the most right-wing Democrats. I mean, he's not even a Democrat. He's a moderate Republican, but he's under the name of a Democrat, so that's what we'll refer to him as. He is willing to withhold his vote and force a vote on certain legislation. You know, you guys have a slim majority in the House. Why aren't you willing to vote as a bloc and, you know, do the same thing that he's doing? And this is her answer. And the same thing applies to people like Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, Elizabeth Warren over there in the Senate. What are you doing? You see what I mean? I just don't understand it. But they'll write letters and they'll, we're going to do our backroom deals. And that's another thing. You know, the reports came out a couple weeks ago that they're going to continue with the backroom deals that produce no results whatsoever. None. And the report also came out that said that AOC was one of the most ineffective people in Washington, one of the most ineffective Congress people. And now a lot of people say, well, that's due to the, you know, the right leaning ideologies that exist, you know, and I'll give you that point. But her strategies and her tactics are also terrible, which is also attributable to her being one of the most ineffective Congress people. You see, this is all a show to me. It seems like a show because it seems like we're dealing with people that say they believe in this stuff. And it's kind of like a lifestyle. You know, it's kind of like it's cool to be a lefty or consider yourself a populist or say that you're for universal health care. But to me, at the very least, to me, it goes far beyond just being cool and just, you know, saying that you're right because you don't think people should, you know, pretend like you're morally superior to say that you don't think that people should die from lack of health care. Ooh, that makes you so cool. But what are you willing to do to actually make that a reality? And it doesn't seem like the Justice Democrats are willing to do very much. And that is extremely upsetting.